Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing good. So today in this video we will discuss about exception handling in Java. And this is very important topic in Java. So let's discuss about exception first. Like what is exception? Like exception is an abnormal condition. If you talk about Java, like an exception is an event that disturbs the normal flow of the program. It is an object which is thrown as runtime. So first question, like what is runtime and what is compile time? Like I am taking a variable here, int type variable here, int a, and I'm just trying to assign a string type of value. Like about this error, our compiler knows about this error. So this it is showing an error at the compile time. This error we can call compile time. When we hit on the run button, and after that we are facing some error, that one is called runtime error. So when our compiler knows about error, that is compile time, and whatever errors our compiler don't know about that, that is called runtime errors. So let's talk about what is exception handling. Like exception handling is a mechanism to handle runtime's error, such as class not found, IO exception, or you can say SQL exception, or you can say remote exceptions, and there are a lot more. But we can just take these examples here. So and if you are using exception handling, so what is the advantages of exception handling? Like if you talk about the core advantage of exception handling, to maintain the normal flow of the application. Like an exception normally disturb the normal flow of application. That is why we need exception handling. So let's consider a scenario like we have 10 statements, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and we have an exception occur of is statement 5. Like suppose the rest of the code will not executed, statement 6 to 10 will not be executed. However, when we perform exception handling, the rest of the statement will be executed. That is why we use exception handling in Java. So like I want to say, like I have a 10 statements and I have an exception like on fifth statement. So if you are not using exception handling, in that case the rest of code will not be executed. But if we are using exception handling, in that case our all the statement will be executed. That is why we use exception handling. So let's talk about types of exception handling, and let's see first hierarchy of. You can see on the screen, it is a hierarchy of Java exception classes. Like throwable class is a root class of Java exception hierarchy, inherited by two subclasses. First is exception and second one is error, and the hierarchy of Java exception classes. So if we talk about types of exception, there are mainly two types of exception: checked and unchecked. And error is considered as a unchecked exception. However, according to Oracle, like if you talk about Oracle, like Java is fully depend on Oracle. So if you talk about Oracle, there are three types of exception mainly, like checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. So let's talk about checked and unchecked. So checked means the class that directly inherit the throwable class, which you can see in hierarchy chart. Throwable class except runtime exception and error are known as checked exception. For example, like IE exception, SQL exception, etc. These are, like you can say, checked exception, checked at compile time. That's why we call this a checked exception. And if you talk about unchecked exception, the class that inherit the runtime exception or known as unchecked exception. For example, like arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, error index or bound exception, etc. Like unchecked exceptions are not checked at compile time, but they are checked at runtime. So this is all about checked exception and unchecked exception. So how we are going to manage, our exceptional handling concept? Like what are the keyword we are using? Like we can use try, we will use try, we will use catch, we will use finally, we will use throw and throws. So let's discuss about each and every keyword. Like when we will use try, like the try keyword is used to specify a block where we should place an exception code. It means we can't use try block alone. The try block must be followed by either catch block or finally. Okay, we can't use only try block. We need to just use try and catch at the same time, or you can say try and finally. And if you talk about catch block is used to handle the exception, like whatever you are writing in try block, if there is exception occur in between, to handle that exception, we will use catch block. And in like it must be preceded by the try block, which means we can't use catch block alone. It can be followed by finally block later. If you talk about finally, like if you have a statement and you want to execute that statement in every case, like if there is exception occur or if there is not any exception occur, in the both cases you want to execute that block, then we will use finally block. And what about throw? The throw keyword used to throw an exception, like if you know, if you are using anything and if there is a case where an exception will occur, you can just throw that exception. In that case, there is no exception will come while your execution. And there is one more thing, throws. Like throws keyword used to declare exception. Like using throws you can make your own custom exceptions. Like there is a little bit difference between throw and throws. Throw keyword is used to throw an exception, but throws keyword is used to declare exceptions. Like it specifies that there may occur an exception in the method. It does not throw an exception, and it is always used to method signature. So let's take an example and try to understand how we are going to use try, catch, and finally. So this is my exception class. Inside this I am making my main method here, and inside this I'm just taking a try block. So first, without try, we will try to do some things without try and catch block, so that we can understand. Like I have a in data and I'm just dividing 100 by divide by 0. In this case, what you will get, like we will get infinite. Okay, and just try to print data here. Data, let's save this and run this. Like you can see, the compiler is not showing any error in this program. So the compiler don't know about this any error about this error. That's why this is called runtime error. Like when I will run this program. Like let's run first, and you can see I am getting an exception here. And just let me, you can say exception in thread main java dot lang dot arithmetic exception by 0 at a simple exception. Like you can see I am getting an exception, arithmetic exception. So how we are going to manage this? Like it will stop or it will just stop our execution while we are facing any exception in any program, so that we need to handle this exception. So i am just I am doing a calculation, and whatever I want to perform, I am putting that inside my try block. Okay, and if there is any exception, so I need to just maintain a catch block here. So in that case, I am just taking exception here, because exception is the main parent class. In that case, we can use, let me just create this class as exceptions class, so that let me just refactor this, refactor, and rename this as exception sample. Okay, and exception sample. Okay, this is my exception class. Like if you don't know about an exception, like here I am getting arithmetic type of exception. In that case, I can write exception name here. But if you don't know about an exception, you can just write exception. It will manage all the exceptions. Like it is the parent class. Inside this we have each and every exceptions is inside this exception class. So if you know, you can write your exception here. If you don't know, you can just write exception here. Like in this case, I know about this exception, so that I am writing arithmetic exception here. Okay, and if you have like one or more exception in your program, so in that case you can make lots of exception blocks. Okay, and inside this I'm just trying to let me print this. so that we will know like we are in catch block. Okay, for that I am printing here like I am here. Okay, and just print our exception here. Exception same as here also, exception, and I'm printing my exception here. Let's save this and run this. You can see our program is executed. Like we are not facing any exception here. We are facing this because I am just printing this exception. If I will just comment these lines. In that case, I am not facing any error here. You can see. So this is the power of exception handling. Like still I am facing an exception here, but if we manage that exception, we are our execution will not stop. It will go move forward. Okay, this is the power of exception handling. Like there are some scenarios like if you talk about some more exceptions, like a scenario with arithmetic exception occur, like whenever we divide by 0, in that case we are getting arithmetic exception. A scenario where null pointers occur, like if we have a null value and null value in any variable and performing an operation, like I have a string value here. You can say I have a string value here, a string s is equal to null. Okay, and I'm just trying to just find length of this, like s dot length. In that case I am facing any error here because our string variable is null, so I can't find this length. Let's run this. And so this is not showing any error because we are just handle that exception. So let me just remove try and catch block so that you can see I am facing an error here. Save this, just comment this line. You can see I am getting a null pointer exception because I have a null value and I am trying to perform some actions of that null variable. That in that case we are facing null pointer exceptions. And there is one more scenario like a scenario where number format exception occur, like if the formatting of any variable or number is mismatched. Like I have an int type of variable and I am trying to just put uh, some other values inside this. In that case we can say like number format mismatch exception occur. Like let me show you that one also so that you a b c, I have a string type of value and I am just trying to change this into integer, like integer dot pass int, and I am passing s value. So I have not a number value inside my string variable, and I'm just trying to change that as a string. In that case, we let's say run this first. You can see for input string, I have number format exception, and yeah, that is the exception. Number format exception because I have a string type of variable and I have a string type of value, but I want to change that value in. I want to change that value in as an teaser. So in that case, we are facing number format exception error. Like when any variable or number is mismatched, in that case we are facing number format exception. Like a scenario where array index of bound, like we have an array and we don't have that any value inside our array. In that case we will facing array index of bound problem. So these are the problems, and let me show an example of finally block so that you can understand why we use finally block. So in that case you can, so it is in catch block. In this case it is in catch block, and if I am just writing finally block here, finally block here, in that case you can say I'm just printing something here. So whatever the operations you want to perform, like if you are facing any exception or if you are not facing any exception, in the both case, in that case you can use finally block. Like this is finally block. Okay, let's save this, and I'm just trying to change this as like in this case I'm not getting any exception. So let's run this. You can say this is in finally block. I am still in finally block. And if I am writing 0 here, so because in that case we can't just divide 100 divide like we can't divide 100 with 0. In that case I am facing an error, and if I run this program again, you can see I'm fine. I am getting this is a finally block. Like finally block will executed each and every time. Like if you are facing any error, in that case, if you are not facing error, in that in the both cases you can use finally block. Like if you want to just perform any actions, if you are facing any error or if you are not facing error, in that case you can use finally block. And if you talk about throw, in that case we don't need to use try and catch block here. So this is all about exception handling, and try to do some more example, and I will make a separate video on this where we are trying to solve more problems using exception handling. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.